first area you enter when you visit the castle. It's the shop, but don't let the bright yellow colour and all the things for sale and the clan memorabilia fool you into a false sense of security. It's not a nice place. Our first visit here, nobody in the team liked this particular room, and it was just as it is today. It was brightly lit, although the walls were a different colour. The walls were red at that point, but none of us liked this room, and we couldn't put our finger on it at all. But things did seem to come out of the woodwork later on, and unbeknown to us at the time, we recorded a really horrible growly breath. Wasn't very pleasant. This room didn't used to appear as it does now. There was a wing at the back of the castle which was built in the 1700s. It's now demolished, but when that wing was built, this room was converted into a passageway that went through to the new wing. And before that time, it was a vaulted cellar, like the ones next door. So it was a stone vaulted dark cellar where the butcher worked. Now, we didn't know this when we first came here, and there is a story that's come to light which ties in with that to some degree. We've encountered a group of spirit soldiers in here, and we won't go into all the details, but they're not very pleasant and they can be a bit aggressive, and they would hurt you if they got the chance to. But you can find all the details about them on our website and all the information that we've come up with. But is there anything else you'd like to add to that, Tori, about them, about these soldiers?
I think they died in this room. I think that's why they seem to be centred around this room. They're not nice at all.
There's also been foul odours reported along this corridor in this room as well. Smells like BO and things like that. Unpleasant smells, but not attributed to people that have been here. They've just appeared and gone away again.
Now, the main entrance would have always been into this room, would it?
No, the main entrance to the castle is actually at the foot of the stairs, so we can show that as well. But the actual entrance here was built later in the Victorian times. The corridor actually extended down right into the kitchen, I think. So this area is not really how it was when the castle was first built at all. There would have also been a window at the rear of this room. This is the main stairwell of the castle, and there's been a little boy sighted here, often standing in that alcove there. He seems to just watch people as they go past. There's also been, I think, feet seen, or legs seen going up the stairs.
And in this area here, is this where the shoe was found? Was it in this wall?
Yeah, there's I think they're on display somewhere in the castle, but there were shoes and chicken bones found within the walls, which was quite common, I believe, in years gone by. A lot of old houses, they find artefacts like that buried in the walls or under the floors. Tori, you can maybe elaborate on that a wee bit.
Shoes were associated with luck.
Okay.
So they put them into the walls to bring luck to the property. Same with, they used to put a wee coin in the summer to bring fortune to the household. Same idea. One was over behind the door, one was across here. And the man who was filming in that corner saw three different things. First he saw a white, misty figure run through here and then fade away. After that, he saw the tip of a sword pointed towards the other gentleman who was in this corner. And then he also saw a sword flying over our heads as we sat in the corner, just barely missing the tops of our heads, and it spun as it moved.
So it looked like a real sword with
like
the
a real
light
sword.
shining off it as it spun.
He described it as being very solid, very real. And we drew a picture of it, and it does tie in with sort of from the period of time of spirits we were supposed to be speaking to at the time. So Could very well be verified a little bit there.
And did we ascertain what kind of sword it was? Would it have been a cavalry sword?
I think it was, yeah. And it had the ornate basket at the hand grip. I don't know the technical word for it. And it was an almost bent blade
Curved
as well.
sword.
Curved sword, yeah.
Okay. But these soldiers have been sent down here on a number of occasions, haven't they? And there's several of them.
We think there's 6 of them. There's a group
Yeah.
of
I
6.
think so.
It's as if they surround you when you come in here. We've been here several times and they've always been sensed at the doorways, no matter which room we're in the ground floor, well apart from the kitchen. We sense them in the doorways. It's like they position themselves strategically.
Yeah, they
at
very much
doorways.
operate like a group. They do, and they seem to box you in.
And how do they make you feel when you're in here?
I think they're very intimidating.
Okay.
Right, this is the second vaulted cellar. Again, home to the spirit soldiers that we think reside on the ground floor. Not been too much unexplained activity happening in here apart from the odd noise and footstep, things like that. What I can point out to you historically is this plank of wood up here, which is a cupboard. In the olden days, you wouldn't keep your provisions and things on the floors because of the rats, etc. So this is just a storage space. And over here is a serving stair. This stair goes up to the pink room, the main hall upstairs. So the servants would have carried food, etc. up this stairwell up to the next floor. And behind me, in the little alcove, which is really dark at the moment, is a little tiny room. We're not sure what that is. Some people think there's been a well in there and other people think it's some kind of lock-up. But we're not entirely sure what that room was used for. This is the ground floor corridor. It's quite spooky at night time when it's dark, as you can imagine. The soldiers who inhabit the ground floor do go up and down this corridor. Often when we're in the little cellar rooms, one of them will stand at the doorway out here, so we believe, or the next doorway up here. So they seem to take their places up at each doorway while we're in the little cellars. And originally the castle would have ended where that doorway is at the end of the room here. This would have been the outside wall. And in 1840 this new wing was built. So originally this wall would have been outside. And there's the little window for the little lock-up. Now the red-coated soldiers that we've been speaking of, they never seem to extend beyond this boundary. Whether this is because this is a newer wing, we don't know. We do think the soldiers are from a much earlier time, perhaps the 18th century. So if that was the case, then that would be quite right. They wouldn't have inhabited this area at all. This would have been outside. We're in the heart of the castle, the kitchen. This room would have been full of life, buzzing with people, etc. But it's quite surprising to us that there's not much spirit activity in here at all. It's been a fairly calm place, and when we come here we tend to use the kitchen as our base because it's so homely and welcoming and calm. It's quite a surprise really because the unpleasant areas of the shop, the corridor and the cellars are just next door, but it seems to be a definite change in atmosphere when you come across the threshold into the kitchen.
And have you picked up any spirits in here?
There's not a lot here. Most of the stuff here is just residual. You know, this has been the heart of the house, so it's had a lot of coming and going, and you can still feel that here. But we have had a public event where we set this up as our base, and we're all gathered around Katrina as she was talking, and I looked next to me and there was a girl dressed in period clothing with a wee cloth cap over her hair, just taking part like the rest, and then she disappeared. So I think she was like a wee kitchen worker. So that was quite nice.